Hello and welcome back to the X-Files Revisited. We are on to episode 18 of season 5, which is the Pine Bluff Variant. Brian, shall we do our little guessing game on this one?
Let's do it. So last week, or last we missed a
Two
show
weeks
last
ago,
week. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. I said that this was an episode that I think fans generally tend to love, which I've never quite understood why, because there's stuff in it where I'm like kind of scratching my head afterwards going, so obviously you had that at the end of the last episode, so I'm sure that will feed in somehow to your guess. But yeah, 217 episodes. Where do you think this sits?
43.
No. 92.
92. Oh.
92, yeah. Yeah, okay. So it's around the half. It's the top of the half mark. So it's like I would say it's top of the second tier. So yeah. I'm not sure.
And this was one. As soon as it starts, I remembered this one, Brian.
Oh right, did you?
Well, some I remembered certain sequences about it. I remembered the opening sequence, the cinema sequence. I remembered quite a bit as well. You know, and that's for me who I forget reoccurring characters. So this was a strong bonus for me.
There's no blondes in this one, so you should be all right. So, shall we get to it then?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so we open up the episode and Mulder is jogging, but he's being watched. And it turns out not only being watched, but being directed over an earpiece. And a guy from the faculty, I don't know the name of this actor, but I've seen it. He's like, I've always thought of him as a budget. What's the dude from RoboCop? For some reason, he's always felt to me like a budget version.
Yeah, you think? But you mean the main guy or the bad guy?
Yeah. The bad guy. Yeah. For some reason, like I don't anymore. But back in my teenage years, like when I saw the faculty, I was like, oh, it's the dude from RoboCop. And it's so clearly not. But like
Kurtwood Smith,
yeah, he's like budget Kurtwood Smith, and I don't know why. I think it's just because he looks like a pretty average dude. He doesn't look like a movie star. He's been in kind of low rent type of action movie. Although I've got all the RoboCop fans screaming at me now for calling it low rent.
Yeah. So as soon as he opens or as soon as I see him in the opening, I'm like, that's the guy that's drinking the water. You know, he drinks the water and then just does that kind of. I don't know why it's that sequence. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the way he drinks and it's kind of in slow motion. You hear those gulps and it's that. Yeah, it's quite disgusting. But okay. So the guy from the faculty gets off the bus and he meets someone. Shortly after giving that someone a look at something in an envelope, that someone has a heart attack or appears to have some kind of heart attack. And it turns out it's a flesh-eating virus. His flesh starts kind of getting eaten away. Lovely. Mulder pursues the guy from the faculty. Scully pursues
who has
Mulder.
no right evading Mulder.
No.
You see the two of them running and it's just a chuckle.
Yeah. So Scully pursues Mulder thinking that he might be in danger, and then she kind of catches up with him.
Again, she jumps out the back of the van and heals and still manages to catch up with them.
So it's more like he's kind of doubled round because she goes to wherever it is he's run. And then he just kind of really nonchalantly pops up behind her. It's like, oh, hey, Scully. It's like, oh, hi, Mark. And Scully looks rather like, what the hell, dude? You had him. Where's he gone? And he just kind of wanders off like, oh, well.
I thought this bit was really poorly kind of edited because she's watching, she sees Mulder at a car. It looks as if she's off this way. And then she turns to see Mulder coming behind her there. And I'm like, that seems like too short a gap for him to have circled around. I feel it's just down to the editing at that point. And unless they're going like, it's doppelgangers. And then oh no, it's just It's just poor editing.
Oh man, I think is it poor editing, or is it Mulder being piss poor at pretending that he's lost someone? He's just kind of like doubled back and like, oh hi Scully, yeah, lost him. Sorry.
But it's a really interesting opening because it's not often you get to see them doing something like a proper
FBI
investigation.
work.
Yeah, and it just feels good. And then you get that little sting at the end with seeing Mulder just pure like tapping the car, just being like, and giving the thumbs up, and then Scully sees it as well. It's a great opening. I think it's a really good opening.
Yeah. Standard FBI case rather than like normally we get snippets of this in other episodes, but it's usually Mulder kind of like listening to tapes or something, and then very quickly moving on to an actual X-Files case. But yeah, so after the opening titles, Scully watches the surveillance footage of the operation and questions Mulder when Mulder comes into the office, but Mulder denies kind of what her implications are, really, which is that, dude, that's clearly you right there on camera letting our suspect go. which begs the question, why is Scully the only one to have noticed this? Why is she the only one looking at the surveillance? Why is she the only one who can recognize that is Mulder on the surveillance, kind of clearly doing a piss poor job of things? Now that
because the investigation has went tits up, like everybody should be scouring every piece of information.
Yeah, what the hell went wrong here? So now that question will be answered, but at this point you're kind of like, that doesn't make sense. So yeah, they go to the task force briefing to is it a briefing? Yeah. Anyway, so the task force briefing, and basically they're trying to capture Jacob Stephen Haley. And they're trying to work out why their capture of Jacob Stephen Haley failed. So that's the guy from the faculty. The man Haley had met in the park had sold him guns. So it's like they're trying to get to grips with a gun running operation kind of thing. The disease that he died of was apparently genetically engineered. How did Haley escape is what they're asking, to which there is no answer from Scully, but surely everyone else has seen the surveillance tape as well, which is obviously the point we just made. Haley is, it turns out, second in command to a man named August Bremer. And basically, look, stop these guys. August Bremer and Jacob Stephen Haley, find out what they're up to, stop them. Mulder then kind of instantly walks out, literally bypassing Scully. She kind of tries to catch his eye, but he just blanks her and carries on walking off. Which isn't, we've seen a lot of these debriefs, and usually Mulder's the one who once the chat has died down, he's like, Columbo style, just one more thing. It's like, so
aliens.
Aliens.
It feels weird because there is a lot of people here, like a lot of people, and it's just I do like the part when Mulder kind of interjects, because he doesn't change his tact. Everybody else has been a little bit more prim and proper, and the guy's like, "How do we know it's not airborne?" And Mulder's just like, "Because we're alive." And sits back.
That's his one moment to kind of. It's always got to have one moment that shows he's more intelligent than everyone else in the room.
But in any other show, like where we didn't know that wasn't the main character, and somebody said that, you'd be like, "Oh,
what a prick." Okay, so we go to a theatre where August Bremer pays for a ticket, buys some popcorn, but he really wants hot popcorn. He's not satisfied with the popcorn that he's about to be given. He wants the lady to go make some fresh popcorn. So, she's very obliging, and off she goes. And while she is kind of off doing that, he pulls out a spray can, clearly going to graffiti the place.
Because she's definitely spitting in that popcorn. There's no way she's not. Because he's a bit of a prick. Let's face it.
Yeah.
And
Clearly.
the movie's ending, and it's Die Hard with a Vengeance he's going to see, which I thought was kind of funny. It says it in the marquee outside.
Right,
Die Hard with a Vengeance. Yeah, they're going to in a minute.
Yeah. Had to be a 20th Century Fox film, didn't it? So let's promote our own movie. Okay. Mulder is followed by Scully to a hotel, it seems. So she clearly doesn't trust him at this point. Mulder gets a phone call from Haley, who questions his loyalty. So they've tried this a few times in various episodes where, is Mulder working for the other side? Or, is Scully working for the other side? Like they've had episodes where they've been drugged or they've been wet wired, and they start to think, oh no. And the problem with that as a plot point is that it doesn't work, because we're never in any doubt as to whose side these two are on. They're always for each other. They're never not gonna be for each other. They may be up to something without telling the other one, but it's never going to be at the detriment to the other one, not by intention at any rate. So thankfully they don't drag this out through the whole episode. We get to learn pretty quickly what's going on, so I can kind of let it slide. So two guys break in to the cinema. They're kind of just looking from across the street, making a few comments, and then they break into the cinema, as every teenager has done, I'm sure. Not me, of course. Not me. Never.
Yeah, me either.
Never did. Never did such a thing.
Definitely. Definitely didn't do that to see the Jean-Claude Van Damme classic Hard Target.
Allegedly.
Yeah, never.
So they break into the cinema, and basically when they take a look behind them, it's just full of bodies that have all decayed and been eaten away clearly by flesh-eating virus. So Scully tricks the hotel manager into getting Mulder's alias. I really like how she does it. It's quite clever, the way she does it. It's just, you'd believe her, wouldn't you? It's like the way she comes in and does it and says it. Like so many times you see in shows when the usual one is like, we need to get onto a military base. So we're going to, you phone your superior officer right now, and you wake them up at stupid o'clock in the morning, and you tell them that and it's like, whatever, who's going to fall for that in this day and age? But like this obviously isn't quite as high scale, so you kind of you buy Scully's approach here, and it's
good. The pissed off wife or girlfriend or something. It's just
yeah. So Mulder receives another call from Haley, who says proceed as planned. Obviously, at this point, we don't know what's going on. We don't know what Mulder's caught up in. We know he's the good guy, clearly, but we don't know what it is he's caught up in. So Mulder is picked up while Scully watches, then pursues. Scully, however, is pulled over by a bunch of men in black. Proper dodge. Not the first time she's been pulled over by people like this.
I kind of hoped it was going to be the guys from Jose Chung's. Those men in black.
Start talking about weather balloons and stuff. So she's taken to Skinner and a really dodgy DEA. I think he's DEA. I think at some point we're told he's DEA.
He's another suit, Brian. He's another suit.
He's a douchebag. And he's played by an actor who, again, don't know his name, but I've seen him in things. And he always plays the suit douchebag. He always plays like the boss of a company that's a bit sly, and so right off the bat, I don't trust this guy at all.
And this sequence here is pretty much the info dump sequence, isn't it?
Yes.
Let's just tell you everything.
So they fill her in, Mulder was approached after his anti-government. I like this, actually. I like the tie into this. Now, I don't know if, without going back and watching, whether it was this specific one or just one of many, but we've seen Mulder doing this. So it was after one of Mulder's anti-government rally things. So, like, if you remember back in, was it Patient X? Yeah, Patient X, first part of that 2-part story.
Yeah.
Started with Mulder being at this convention thing, and he was the only one on the panel. Yeah, he was the only one on the panel saying, like, the government sucks balls and all this kind of stuff. So I like that they kind of make a callback to that, because it's not something that is, they're not just throwing it out here and we're supposed to just go, he wouldn't do that. It's like, we've seen him do it. Like earlier in this season, we've seen him do it. So so somebody approached him during one of those and basically, tried to recruit him for their anti-government terrorism kind of plot. So Scully says that it's too risky having Mulder be so deep in this undercover kind of work. They don't know anything. So it's just too risky. Then a man enters to inform them of the cinema in Ohio that was attacked. But say it's an information dump. So Mulder is taken with a bag on his head, and he's rather sarcastic. Like, even when he's I feel like whenever Mulder is in a life or death situation, where the sarcasm comes out, and it's like a defense mechanism.
Yeah,
he says things you shouldn't say because it's more likely to get you killed, but it's almost like his Chandler Bing kind of, I just can't help myself, defense mechanism thing. So so the bag's pulled off his head. He's sat down, and he's asked what happened in the park, and he spins him a story that, like, obviously there's only so much he can do because he's there with other agents, and if they cotton on, it could give the whole game away. Not trusting him entirely. The henchman of Haley, bald, kind of goateed guy, breaks Mulder's fingers. Yeah, the gimp breaks Mulder's fingers.
This is the thing. Like, initially, I thought, okay, they're going to break his fingers, but the first couple of times looks as if they just really give it a bad bend.
Yeah,
because it doesn't look. Yeah. It's like, this is the worst torturer ever. I was waiting on them, like, giving them, like,
rubbery,
like, we're going to pinch you next, and pull out your hairs or something,
tickle your armpits,
hold their head, and
yeah, they could have got like the Matt Beck or whoever who was visual effects supervisor, kind of like make up a false hand and literally give it a good crack, couldn't they?
Yeah, break a couple of fingers.
Yeah, the sound effects that they use don't quite match up to that. Oh. So all right. So they after a couple of broken fingers, Haley's like, you know what? I believe him. And they're like, okay, let's get down to business. So I Mulder also gets, again, I feel like this season Mulder's a bit tougher than he has been in previous seasons. Like, so he's taking the torture here. He also threatens the gimp, and even goes so far as to headbutt him after. Yeah, so it's like, ooh, Mulder, that's like playing Mr. Tough there. It's a bit out of character.
Yeah, it certainly is. I'd expect Mulder to headbutt somebody and knock himself out.
Yeah, pretty much. So Scully and Skinner are at the theatre. Scully deduces that the virus isn't airborne and must have been on something everybody touched, like a ticket stub, which she then picks up. Yes. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
You're the scientist, Scully. Like, why?
I'm sorry.
Why would
there's literally 12 corpses around you who've literally melted. I'm touching nothing.
No, I didn't even touch. I shudder to touch seats most times in cinemas like that, because you don't know what's on them.
I mean,
it's like,
For all she's doing, she may as well give it the taste test. Give it a lick. Yes, definitely
yes,
filled with
touch
bacteria.
of Corona, and oh man, it makes zero sense, and it's like, why we couldn't just have a shot of a ticket stub on the floor, and then her just kind of putting her hand on Skinner as if, hang on, back up a sec. That would have been more than enough. At least slap on the latex gloves. We know you like doing that, Scully. So yeah, stupid. Where am I?
Yeah, a theatre with Scully and Skinner.
Oh, yeah. So Scully gets to see Mulder, tells him about the theatre. Maybe it was a test for something bigger. Mulder thinks there's still something they want from him. That's why they didn't kill him. Says Haley really doesn't like or trust Bremer. We then see that Bremer is listening in. So,
yeah, and you'll like this one, Brian, because when he walks in the room, and the woman stands up, I thought, haha, it's the blonde-haired chick.
It wasn't.
It wasn't.
No.
They got nearly so.
Did you think Marita Kovarubius was there? Yeah, no, she's not in this one, mate. Sorry.
No.
Oh man, I'm struggling now to think who you're thinking about who was in this scene.
It's Scully. It's Scully. I thought
Scully?
It was. Yeah, when the woman speaks up and says Mulder, I thought it was the blonde woman, and then I realised it was Scully. I was like, oh, we're going to get some like.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. No. So Mulder goes to see Skinner, and the other dude, the DEA guy, says Haley wants some codes or something that will allow them to break in to the Federal Reserves. The DEA guy just so happens to have anticipated this and has files for Mulder to hand over with these so-called codes in for the Federal Reserve.
Why is nobody questioning this, Brian?
I know. It's so sketch, isn't it? It's so sketch.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
I just
Wait,
happen to have the exact stuff.
Hang on a minute. Yeah, hang on a minute. I've not had a clue what these guys have wanted from me. I'm the one who's deep in with them. I still don't know what it is they want from me until now. They've just told me, and yet you've anticipated. How is it you know more than I do when I'm the one who's undercover with these guys? That is sketch. That is about as dodgy as dodge gets. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's this point you're just like,
yeah. So Skinner gets a bad feeling about it and wants a tail on Mulder. The other dude says no tail. Mulder says if he's not back midnight, feed my fish.
Yes, which is good. But the guy says no tail. Quite clearly, people are tailing him because they stopped Scully earlier on. So there is people tailing Mulder and watching what he's doing. We just don't see them. Yeah, but that sequence alludes to two things. People are watching him.
Yeah.
Which comes into the ending of it, I think.
Yeah. So Scully views the virus under a microscope. The scientist that is with her says there's no way it was developed by the Russians. They don't have anything this sophisticated. So who was it made by?
I just feel like this guy should be eating a sandwich. Why, Brian? I just feel it's the only thing that's needed in this sequence. Just take his hands out of those big gloves and instantly take a big bite of a sandwich.
Mulder goes to the hotel. Tell the gimp to back off, he says. When he hands over the files, puts on the mask once again, or the gimp will put it on for you. Basically, they want him to put the mask back, put it on, or the gimp will put it on.
See, Mulder calls him the gimp. Mulder visits those movie theaters. Mulder's always watching those kind of films. I think we're seeing a whole new aspect of Mulder.
Yeah, I don't want to go down that avenue. That's a kind of fan fiction that is reserved for only a certain kind of people. Okay, so Scully phones Skinner, asks to talk privately. So Skinner takes her off speakerphone, but is still literally broadcasting
repeating
his
everything.
half of it. Yeah. So, like, if we didn't hear what Scully was saying, we would still know what she was talking about.
Yeah.
Because Scully's like...
It's hilarious, Brian, because he's literally on the phone going like, chemical weapons? Are we, America, still making chemical weapons? I don't think we stopped our chemical weapons program. And then the president goes like, she's worried about his partner. Her partner. That's the best lie.
Oh man, it's like, come on, dude. She's just said she wants to talk privately. How about It's just come on.
And
it just makes Skinner look like an imbecile.
See when he lies and says she's just worried about her partner, he looks like the worst liar in the planet. Oh, horrible.
I know. So during that phone conversation, she asked to talk privately. Skinner says the US has no bioweapons, was dismantled, but Scully says that the CDC records show that a variant of this virus was developed by the military at their Pine Bluff facility, hence the title, the Pine Bluff Variant. In the 1960s, Mulder has been sent on a suicide mission. So clearly, at this point, what we know is this is a government-made virus that has somehow found its way into the hands of terrorists that are now trying to break in to a government facility to which a member of the government passed on the codes to allow them to get in. Okay. All right. So Mulder is taken to a weapons holding. Everyone starts tooling up like they're all part of a SWAT team invasion.
Yeah.
August Bremer gives Mulder a Dracula mask. So yeah, this is the Point Break section of the episode. instead of the dead presidents, they're all wearing like Universal
monsters.
Yeah. Which is a nice.
The masks are cool. The masks are cool.
Yeah. Scully has a revelation about the money. So somebody mentions that the money, and she's like, the money. And then off she runs. So back of the van, everybody puts on their masks. They go into the bank. They pull this heist. One man gets shot, but kind of Mulder is told to finish the job, finish him off. So Mulder stands over him. Yeah. Mulder stands over him for about 20 minutes. Not pulling the trigger.
See time standing still. But what I love about this sequence is they're like, finish him, and then they continue on with the robbery for a few more minutes, and then they're like, finish him. A few more minutes of the robbery.
Yeah. So Mulder doesn't finish him. The money gets sprayed. So obviously they take some of the money to make it look like it was a heist, and they spray the rest. And then, so Mulder's told to leave his gun, or somebody's told to leave his gun.
Mulder's gun is traceable.
Yeah, right. So why leave it? One, why leave it? And two, no. Sorry, it's like, why use it? That's the point.
Yeah.
Why use it? If it's traceable, why use it?
Yeah.
Like, and are the other guns? Yeah. Well, I mean, this is just questions I'm thinking at the time. And this is one of the problems I have with the episode, is because constantly throws up questions about people's motives that you spend time mentally processing, which stops you kind of keeping up with the stuff that's actually important.
Right. Okay. So what I got from the sequence with the gun after the fact is they're setting Mulder up for something. They want him to kill someone during this robbery to really like galvanize his place in this team, and the only people that know that the gun's like traceable or somehow can be played back are the two main guys in the group, and it gets faculty guy to stop him using it. so that they can discredit the faculty guy later on because he's always helping Mulder, stopping him from doing it. He's always backing him up. We need him for information. We don't want him getting put away because of something here. I think it's not so much about the gun in Mulder, and more about setting up the faculty guy.
Yeah. Okay.
Not buying it.
It's just all a bit hazy. Bremer calls Mulder out as a traitor after first burning the money that they stole. So, like that right there tells you this guy is a believer,
a government agent. No, a government agent.
Government agent. I was going to say he's either a believer in the sense, a bit like the Joker when he burns the money. It's like, all I need is gasoline, and it's just so he's either burning the money because he really don't care about the money, or it's because he is a government agent. And
I think he's using this group. He's taking the money away from them because he can do some damage with the money.
Yeah,
that's how I see it.
I think they're testing this virus. That's the thing. I think they're testing the virus. His operation is all about getting that virus into the thing, and whilst also taking out the terrorist organization and blaming all the fallout on them. So Scully says they need to find Mulder and the bank that they robbed. But this was a piece of information that I found quite staggering, if it's true. I don't know. So obviously not today. I don't think it would be quite this high today, given how high tech everything's got. So this was 97, 98. Scully says that, somebody says that there's been 27 robberies in 12 eastern states just that morning. What the hell? I can only assume they've plucked that figure from a reasonable statistic. I would imagine that somebody would have done the due diligence. How many bank robberies do we have in America on a routine basis? And they came back with a figure that resembles something like that. That is a staggering figure.
Oh yeah.
If there was 27, even if it was all across America, not just in 12 eastern states as it is here, but even if it was just all across America, 27 bank robberies. A bank job it's not a small job, is it? It's and
we've done plenty. We know.
Allegedly. I found that quite staggering. But obviously that's their. If they've got to look over surveillance tape of a bank robbery, it's like, well, easy. What bank was robbed this morning? Well, actually, there was 27 of them. It's like, oh crap. Okay, so
but they've got the footage from everything there as well, which is even more staggering.
Yeah. So
and Scully, teams of people going through these cameras, and Scully just walks down. She's like, nope. Dracula, this guy sucks. Oh, finger.
Yeah, it's so she obviously she gets it from the fingers. She knows that his fingers have been done in. So, which was a nice touch. It kind of it felt like a natural sequence when Mulder was getting his fingers broken. It didn't feel like something they were planting that could be used later. Yeah. Whereas a lot of the times things like that in episodes, you look at it and you go, oh, foreshadowing. And it just feels like it's instantly there because you know it's going to come back later. So it feels really organic. It feels really organically done. So I do like that. Bremer lets Haley go, then takes Mulder executed. But not Mulder. The Gimp. He actually kills the Gimp instead.
Shock.
Shock horror. Didn't see that coming from the ridiculously long part. I always imagine how I would fare in a situation like this. If somebody's got a gun and they say, get on your knees, in my head, right now, because I'm sat here in my living room and there's no one here with a gun to my head. In my head, I'd like to believe that, right, I know that guy's going to try and kill me. So at this point, I either fight and at least go out fighting, or somehow manage to succeed in my fight and win, and in which case survive, or I do
seduction.
what yeah. I think I'm screwed then.
Sorry, I thought you were somebody else
does
here.
here. Yeah. I do what Mulder does here, which is get down on his knees. Like he's literally rolling over. Which I don't. I'm not sure I can buy, to be honest. There you go.
And not even a quip in sight.
Yeah.
You know, like go on your knees. We've only had one date. You know, like Mulder.
Feels like something Mulder should have and would have said. So so the gimp gets shot, and the guy Bremer just lets Mulder go. So what do you think the reasoning there is? Because
he's a government. He can't kill a government agent. He's Mulder.
Right.
We know is kind of protected. I'm pretty sure the guy is a government agent.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's a government agent, but I feel like Mulder was a patsy. I feel like in many ways they've been setting Mulder up as, and it's like
I just think Mulder's too well protected. Like I really do. Maybe they've tried to set him up, and Smoking Man sent a letter from Canada saying stop it or something. Like, you know,
it's like they needed Mulder. They needed Mulder to gain the trust of these guys, so that when they gave these guys the codes to break into the bank, they would believe that Mulder had genuinely got them on their behalf through nefarious means. This is all about getting that virus into the bank. A plan that I don't quite understand, and I'll go into why in just a moment. But Mulder rocks up at the bank, flashing his badge. He tells them not to touch the money. Scully says they're already on it. Mulder asks how they knew it was that bank. Scully says she recognized Mulder from his bandaged fingers. He tells them Bremer is one of them. Scully says the virus was engineered by our own government, which Mulder was set up to do what, though? To get them into the bank? Get the government man... Does the government man isolate the money to prevent them proving they were about to unleash it on the populace? That's my thing, is ultimately this is a test by our government. One, they want to bring down this terrorist organization. But two, and I feel this is the more important thing, is they do want to test this Pine Bluff variant. They test it in the cinema, and then they allow for this test at the bank. Now, I have to believe that the government people wanted the test at the bank to go through because they gave over the codes. They had more than enough to bring these guys down for the cinema job. So therefore, it was all about getting the virus into the bank. Now, because the bank was found before any money could be distributed, they've had to not allow the test to go through, but instead isolate it and say, no, it's okay. We've got it. There's nothing on the money, but we've isolated the money. It's all good. You can go home now. So to them, it's a disappointment because it's like, crap. They found the bank. The test is over. We're buggered. So in that regard, Mulder and Scully have succeeded. And here's my problem: is that as soon as people touch that money, like we saw with the guy who opened the letter with the faculty guy,
but they're taking the money away.
Yeah, no, but they're only taking the money away.
Yes, so nobody's going to touch the money now.
Yeah,
but
no, but that's what. But that's what I'm saying. Like, let's say the bank didn't get found. Yeah. Let's say Scully didn't pinpoint which bank it was that got robbed. So the whole point being that money is going to start getting distributed, and people are going to get and the virus is going to spread like citywide.
So I think the thing is, I think the problem is the first sequence. See the sequence with the guy takes out the bearer bond and looks at it, and he collapses at the park. He falls down quick, and then later on you see faculty guy get in the car and drive away. And you're not sure the period of time between him driving away and the interaction of when it happens. I think if they portrayed that it takes a period of time to get into the system,
I think
Do you know what I mean? Then
I think the guy driving away is pretty soon after, because he's given the keys in an envelope. So he goes, he gets to the car, and then boom, it's probably like, my problem is we've already established that, you know, that guy opened the envelope, boom, down he goes. Pretty shortly after, his flesh is all being eaten away. People buy. So, and then there's the confusion about the cinema thing. Because did they not find something on the cinema stubs in the end? Did they say it wasn't on there or something?
Yeah, they said it wasn't on there.
Right. So what did he spray? Did it popcorn? Did he spray the popcorn?
This is the thing. Like when he goes in, it's at the end of the movie. That's what he said. We're at the end of the feature almost. So everybody's has what they want by then.
Yeah, I know. They've already had the movie subs, so it couldn't have been that. It can't be the pop. So what's he sprayed? What did he spray that made, like, if see what I mean? The more questions you start to ask about the episode moves so fast and throws so much information at you that I feel like they bluff you into thinking that it's actually a really well thought out episode. And I come away from it. I come away from it with certain questions that remain unanswered. Now, if the virus acts as fast as we see it acting with the guy at the start, okay, they want to do this test in the bank, fine. It got foiled because Scully found the bank. They didn't want Scully to find the bank, but she did. So because she found the bank, they had to clean up all the money, get rid of it, hide the evidence. But if she hadn't found the bank, my assumption is that they'd want the money to get handled, people to start dropping like flies with the virus. But my problem is that if you start dropping as quickly as that guy did, then it ain't going to take long to subdue this thing. You know what I mean? Like, because a teller is going to get some of the cash. They're going to be handling it. A minute later, they're dead. It's like, it's not a great distribution. Correction, it's a great distribution method if the virus didn't work so damn fast.
Yeah, but I mean, you could suppose that they've reworked it and they're trying something different. You don't know that, but
yeah, it's a lot of supposing. Yeah. This is the trouble I had. This is what I was talking about at the end of last episode. Is that, don't get me wrong, right? Let's do wrap ups. I enjoyed this one. I really did. I enjoyed it more this time around than I did any other time. I felt like I understood it more this time around than I did any other time. But I'm still left with that question with regards to motive. Not so much the motive as the logic behind their execution motive. When you look at what we know about this virus, which is actually very little at this point, because we've seen it take a guy down at the beginning, but then we've not actually had any concrete, substantive kind of explanation as to what went down in the cinema. So I'm just left in this. All right, I feel like there is a great episode there somewhere if we'd have had another 10 minutes with which to iron some stuff out. It's entertaining. There's some really good like Mulder moments, like with him headbutting the gimp, and
because we're not dead.
Yeah, and because we're not dead. I got to the end of this one, and I'd written my notes, and I gave it a 4 out of 5 because I felt like I understood it more than I ever had before. But now that I'm talking about it with you, now that we're going through stuff, back to that thing I always get to with this episode when I start thinking about it. So I'm going to go with a 3.5, just because I feel like there are certain story elements that could have been better handled. There are some elements that are brilliantly handled. Again, like I say, the foreshadowing with the fingers and how that was picked, the way that Scully operates to get information out of the hotel manager, things like that. I'm just 3.5 out of 5.
3.5. I really enjoyed this episode. I did. I thought there was lots of fun things in it. There was lots of frustrating things in it. Finish him! Like that never-ending sequence was like so annoying. Like it just went on forever. I like most of it, and although you have some real hang-ups about it, it doesn't bother me as much. I don't know why. It just doesn't seem to affect me. I'm going to give it 4 out of 5.
It feels like a 4 out of 5 kind of episode to me. Every time I watch it, it feels like a 4 out of 5 kind of episode.
We haven't talked about it. Fantastic score, like a really driving, percussive, really like a spy kind of score to it. I would say, like I thought it was great. So tell me a little bit about episode 19, Folie à Deux.
Folie à Deux. So this is a madness shared, is what it basically means. Yep. So when Joker 2 was announced, it was we were told it was called Joker Folie à Deux, and everyone was like, what's with the weird French title? What does that mean? I instantly knew what it meant, and it instantly made me think of that episode because the episode goes over it. It's about madness shared. So this is another Vince Gilligan episode.
Okay.
So and I really like it. I've always really liked it. I think there are some special effects in it where I can't decide if they're bad or actually creepy bad. It's just there are moments where I find it, and then there are moments where I find it comical. But it's either way. I think that feeds into a lot of the stuff that's going on in the episode with regards to madness and shared madness, and I think we'll have I think I'll have a better time with it than I did with this one. Although again, like I say, I'm so torn on Pine Bluff Variant because it feels like a better episode than it ends up being to me. While I'm watching it, I'm like, I should like this more. It's just I come away with those niggles, and then
there's some things you just can't get over.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, you've heard our thoughts on the Pine Bluff Variant. Let us know your thoughts in the comments or by an email. You can drop us a line. It's in the description box of this video or of the audio file if you're on a podcast service. And if you want, drop a review, give us 5 stars, let everybody else discover our channel as well. And we'll see you next week for Folie à Deux.